Scaling Up, How a Few Companies Make It, and Why the Rest Don't, by Verne Harnish. Picture this. It's 1999. Alan Rudy is sitting in his office, and on paper, he's crushing it. He's the CEO of a fast-growing mail-order medical supply company. This is supposed to be the dream, right? Building something from nothing and watching it soar. But Alan, he's absolutely miserable. He's angry all the time. He just bailed on a ski trip with his father and brothers, their first planned reunion in a decade, because he was convinced the business would implode without him. He's grinding through 80-hour weeks, not fueled by passion, but just desperately trying to keep everything from falling apart. His employees are literally throwing punches in the parking lot. Then comes the knockout blow. On March 30th, his CFO walks in with fantastic news. They made $300,000 in profit that quarter. Alan's thrilled. 2 days later, same CFO, different expression. Turns out he made a little mistake. They didn't make $300,000. They lost $350,000. For a few hours, Alan actually hoped it was an elaborate April Fool's joke. It wasn't. He asked himself the question so many entrepreneurs whisper at 3 a.m. Wasn't I supposed to be making more money and having more fun as the company got bigger? Here's the great paradox of growth. We believe that adding more people, more customers, and more resources should make things easier. But it doesn't. It gets harder, more complex. That garage startup dream morphs into a nightmare you can't control. What if there was a blueprint? A set of proven habits and powerful tools that could transform chaos back into clarity? A way to scale your business without scaling your stress? That's exactly what we're exploring today. We're diving into a book that's been the secret weapon for over 40,000 companies worldwide, from scrappy startups to billion-dollar giants. It's called Scaling Up by Verne Harnish. This isn't just another business book. It's a field manual for navigating the treacherous journey from small startup to industry titan. By the end of our time together, you'll understand the 4 critical decisions that separate the companies that make it from all the rest that don't. Let's start with a simple truth that Harnish lays out right from the beginning. Every company follows a predictable life cycle, shaped like an S-curve. You've got the startup phase, where everything feels exciting and new. You're like a nimble little mouse, quick and agile. Then, if you're lucky, you hit the scale-up phase. This is where you become what Harnish calls a gazelle, fast-growing, high-impact in the sweet spot. But here's where things get dangerous. Right after the scale-up phase comes what he calls the mess-up phase. The gazelle either morphs into a slow, bureaucratic elephant, or worse, it stalls out completely and fails to scale. The numbers are sobering. Of all the companies that start, 96% remain mice. They never grow beyond a handful of employees. Less than half of 1% ever crack $10 million in revenue. Why? What's stopping them? In one word, complexity. Think about it. When it's just you and a partner, you have one line of communication. Simple. Add a third person, and those communication lines triple. Add a fourth, and they multiply again. The complexity grows exponentially. Every new employee, every new customer, every new product feels like you're dragging a heavier and heavier anchor through sand. This is exactly what Alan Rudy was experiencing, and it's the paradox that Verne Harnish has dedicated his life to solving. He says that to break through this complexity and successfully scale, you must get just 4 big decisions right. Everything, and he means everything in a growing business, comes down to these 4 decisions: people, strategy, execution, and cash. Get these 4 right, and you create a business that's not only successful but actually fun to run. Get anyone wrong, and you'll find yourself stuck, stressed, and wondering why everything feels so hard. Harnish visualizes this journey as climbing Mount Everest. Your big, hairy, audacious goal, your BHAG, is the summit. It's that 10 to 25-year goal that seems almost impossible but fires everyone up. But you don't just stare at the summit. You plan your ascent by focusing on a series of base camps along the way, your 3 to 5-year goals. Then you break it down further to your one-year goals, your quarterly priorities, and finally, your very next step. The secret is keeping your eye on the peak while focusing all your energy on that next calculated move. And how do you make sure you take those steps consistently day after day, with routines? Harnish has a mantra that echoes throughout the entire book. Routine sets you free. Think about it. A goal without a routine is just a wish. But a routine without a goal is aimless. The most successful leaders have a clear vision and the disciplines, the routines, to make it reality. So let's explore this map. Let's walk through the 4 decisions that form the heart of the scaling up philosophy. The first decision, people. Harnish starts with people because nothing else matters if you don't get this right. He asks 2 brutally honest questions that every leader needs to face. First, are your stakeholders, your employees, your customers, your shareholders happy and engaged? And second, knowing what you know today, would you enthusiastically rehire every single person on your team? If the answer isn't a resounding yes, you have a people problem, and a people problem is an energy drain. It will suck the life out of you and prevent you from focusing on anything else. So how do you build a team of people you'd enthusiastically rehire? It starts at the top. There's a saying Harnish loves: the bottleneck is always at the top of the bottle. If there are problems in the organization, they can almost always be traced back to the leadership team. To fix this, he introduces 2 simple but profound one-page tools. The first is the Function Accountability Chart, or FACE. This isn't your typical, complicated org chart with a bunch of fancy titles. The FACE lists all the key functions that need to happen in any business: marketing, sales, operations, finance, and so on. Your job is to put one, and only one, person's name next to each function, who is ultimately accountable for that seat. The power of this tool is in what it reveals. You might find 2 people think they're in charge of sales, which means no one actually is. You might find one person's name in 8 different boxes, which means they're sprinting toward burnout. Or you might find empty boxes, functions that everyone assumed someone else was handling. It forces clarity. It ends the story of everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody, where an important job needed to be done. Everybody was sure somebody would do it, anybody could have, but nobody did. The second tool is the Process Accountability Chart, or PACE. While the FACE looks at vertical accountability within functions, the PACE looks at horizontal accountability. It maps out the 4 to 9 key processes that drive your business, like how you generate a lead and turn it into a sale, or how you hire and onboard a new employee. Again, you assign one person to be accountable for the health of each process as it flows across the company. Together, the FACE and the PACE ensure that you have the right people doing the right things, and that work flows smoothly without drama. But having the right chart is one thing. How do you find the right people to put on it? Harnish says recruiting is a marketing function. The best people are probably already working somewhere else, and you need to give them a compelling reason to join you. This is where you have to get creative. Think about Mom's Organic Market, a grocery chain with a deep purpose to protect and restore the environment. When they needed a CFO, they didn't just post a boring ad on a job board. They went where their ideal candidates would hang out, a green living and environmental news site. And the ad didn't ask for 10 years of financial experience. It asked questions like, would you rather come to work in jeans? Are you an entrepreneur in a CPA's body? And have you ever pulled recyclables out of the trash? They were flooded with applications from top-tier financial pros who also shared their values. Or consider the City Bin Company in Ireland. They needed people to work on the back of garbage trucks, a tough, physically demanding job. Their brilliant idea? They started recruiting at local gyms, targeting young men who were into fitness. The ad asked, would you like to be paid for your daily workout? They attracted a world champion kickboxer who saw the job as a way to train and get paid at the same time. They didn't just find employees. They found people whose unique goals aligned perfectly with the demands of the job. Once you've attracted these amazing people, the final piece of the people puzzle is keeping them. And the secret to that is turning your managers into great coaches. People join companies, but they leave managers. Harnish outlines 5 activities of great coaches, but the most powerful one is this: help people play to their strengths. A strength isn't just something you're good at. It's something that gives you energy. A weakness, on the other hand, is something that drains your energy, even if you're good at it. A great coach helps each person on their team sculpt their job over time, so they spend more and more of their day doing the things that light them up, and less of the things that wear them down. When you do that, you don't have to worry about motivating people. They're already energized. The second decision, strategy. Once you have the right people, you need to point them in the right direction. That's strategy. The key question here is simple. Can you state your firm's strategy simply? Think about Domino's Pizza in its early days. Their strategy was legendary. Pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, or it's free. That's it. Everyone understood it. Every decision was made to support that one simple promise. That's a killer strategy. To build one, you first have to understand your company's core. This consists of 3 things: your core values, your core purpose, and your core competencies. Core values aren't a wish list of nice-sounding words like integrity and teamwork. They are the handful of rules that define your company's unique personality. They are discovered, not created. A great way to find them is to think about the people on your team you admire most. What are the values they live by? Those are likely your core values. Appletree Answers, a call center provider, had a core value: take care of each other. But they didn't just put it on a poster. They brought it to life with an initiative called Dream On. They asked employees to submit one dream from their personal lives, and a secret committee would try to make it happen. The leaders were shocked by what they learned. One employee was living in a car with her husband and child. The company helped them get an apartment. They sent another employee on her first ever family vacation with her disabled daughter. This wasn't just a nice thing to do. It had a staggering business impact. In an industry where employee turnover was over 100% a year, Appletree's dropped to just 20%. They turned a core value into a competitive advantage. Next is your core purpose. This is the why behind what you do. It's the difference you're making in the world. For 3M, it's innovation. For Disney, it's happiness. A powerful purpose ignites the heart, not just the head, and research shows it can unlock 40% more discretionary effort from your team. With your core established, you're ready to build out your strategy. Harnish introduces another brilliant one-page tool called the 7 Strata of Strategy. Think of it like building a fortress to protect your business and dominate your industry. I won't go through all 7 in detail, but let's touch on the most powerful ideas. It starts with the words you own. What 1 or 2 words do you want to own in your customer's mind? Volvo owns safety. BMW owns driving experience. This isn't just marketing fluff. It's the piece of mental real estate you're fighting for. Next are your brand promises. What are the 3 specific, measurable promises you make to your customers? For the cloud hosting company Rackspace, their promise is fanatical support, and they measure it obsessively. Is your site up 100% of the time? Is your call answered in 3 rings or less? Are you never transferred to another department? Those aren't vague promises. They are quantifiable commitments. But here's where the strategy gets really interesting. Harnish introduces the idea of a one-phrase strategy. This is the secret to making a ton of money, and it often involves daring to be bad at something. Great companies don't try to be great at everything for everyone. They are excellent at a few things that their core customers love, and they are unapologetically bad at things those customers don't care about. IKEA's one-phrase strategy is flat-pack furniture. This is the key that unlocks their low prices. But to get those low prices, you, the customer, have to put up with a lot. You have to drive out of your way, navigate a maze-like store, and then you have to assemble the furniture yourself. Most people hate this. But IKEA doesn't care. They focus on their fanatical customers, who will happily do the work in exchange for stylish, affordable furniture. By daring to be bad, they created a business model that competitors can't easily copy. Finally, All of this culminates in your profit per X and your BHAG. Your profit per X is your economic engine. What is the one single metric that best captures the core of your business model? For Southwest Airlines, it's not profit per seat or profit per mile. It's profit per plane. That single metric drives their obsession with keeping their planes in the air. And that profit per X then informs your big, hairy, audacious goal. If your driver is profit per plane, your BHAG might be to have a certain number of planes in the sky by a certain date. It all connects. It all aligns. The third decision, execution. So you have the right people and a brilliant strategy. Now comes the hard part, making it happen, day in and day out. This is execution. The key question here, are all processes running without drama and driving industry-leading profitability? If you have needless drama, late shipments, wrong invoices, missed meetings, you have an execution problem. Harnish says great execution comes down to 3 key habits: setting a handful of priorities, gathering real-time data, and establishing a consistent meeting rhythm. The entire philosophy of execution is captured in the Rockefeller Habits checklist. It's a simple, 10-point checklist of routines that support flawless execution. Think of it as a pilot's pre-flight checklist for your business. You don't want to take off without making sure you've covered these fundamentals. The most important habit is the first one. The executive team is healthy and aligned. If there's a lack of trust or a fear of healthy conflict at the top, nothing else will work. Once the team is healthy, the next habit is to align everyone around the one priority for the quarter. What is the single most important thing that needs to be accomplished in the next 90 days to move the company forward? This isn't just a goal, it's a rallying cry. This is where you create a quarterly theme. It's a fun, memorable way to bring the priority to life. The City Bin Company in Ireland are masters of this. When they needed to attract 10,000 new customers from a competitor, they launched a theme called Saving Mrs. Ryan, based on the movie Saving Private Ryan. Their door-to-door sales team was the assault team, and they were on a mission to rescue customers from the Soviet-era service of their rival. They had military-themed posters all over the office and tracked their progress on a public scoreboard. It turned a sales goal into a fun, engaging game that everyone could participate in. Another quarter, they wanted to eliminate wasteful activities. The theme was simple: bin it. Employees submitted index cards listing tasks they thought the company should stop doing. They binned over 150 wasteful activities that quarter, freeing up massive amounts of time and energy. These themes provide finish lines. They give everyone a chance to celebrate a victory together, which pumps energy and engagement back into the team. The engine that drives this execution is the meeting rhythm. This is the heartbeat of the organization. To move faster, you need to pulse faster. Harnish lays out a specific rhythm of daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual meetings. The most famous and often misunderstood is the daily huddle. This is a 5 to 15-minute standing meeting. It's not for problem solving, it's for synchronization. Each person answers 3 quick questions. What's up in the next 24 hours? What are your key metrics? And, most importantly, where are you stuck? This stucks part is crucial. It brings issues to the surface immediately, before they become major problems. It creates a culture where it's safe to ask for help. A well-run daily huddle can save everyone an hour of emails and interruptions every single day. The daily huddle feeds the weekly meeting. This is a 60 to 90-minute meeting to review progress on the quarterly priorities and to apply the team's collective intelligence to solve 1 or 2 major issues. The information gathered here then feeds the monthly meeting, where all managers come together for a day of learning and big-picture problem-solving. This rhythm ensures that information flows up, down, and across the organization accurately and quickly. It's the circulatory system of the business. The fourth decision, cash. And finally, we come to cash. People, strategy, and execution are vital, but as Harnish says, you can get by with decent people, strategy, and execution, but not a day without cash. Cash is the oxygen of your business. Without it, you die. And here's the most dangerous law of business physics: growth sucks cash. This is the trap that catches so many fast-growing companies. They're profitable on paper, but they're running out of money. This is what was happening to our friend Alan Rudy, and it's the central drama in a story Harnish tells about a fictional company called Gary's Furniture. Gary's Furniture was a success story, $42 million in revenue, growing fast, profitable for 10 years straight. Gary, the owner, was thrilled, so he was shocked when his bank called him into a meeting and moved his account to their special credit division, a place Gary's accountants called the hospital division. Gary was livid. He thought the bankers were idiots. How could they see his profitable, growing company as a high risk? The problem was that Gary was looking at profit. The bank was looking at cash. And while the company was profitable, it was burning through cash at an alarming rate. For every new dollar of sales, the business required more cash to fund inventory and accounts receivable than it was generating in gross margin. Gary was, quite literally, growing broke. The faster he grew, the deeper the hole he was digging. So how do you avoid this trap? You have to master your cash conversion cycle, or CCC. In simple terms, this is the time it takes from when you spend $1 on inventory, payroll, rent, etc., to when that dollar comes back into your pocket from a customer payment. When Michael Dell was scaling his computer company, he found his CCC was 63 days. That meant, for 63 days, his money was tied up inside the business. He and his team focused obsessively on shrinking this cycle. A decade later, Dell's CCC was negative 21 days. This meant they were getting paid by customers 21 days before they had to pay their suppliers. The faster they grew, the more cash they generated. They had built a self-funding growth machine. When Gary's team analyzed their business using the power of one, they were stunned. Just a 1% price increase would boost their cash by over $400,000. Collecting their receivables just 5 days faster would free up nearly $600,000. Reducing their inventory by just 15 days would generate over $1 million in cash. They realized they didn't need a massive, painful overhaul. They just needed to make small, consistent improvements on these 7 levers. By focusing on these small changes, they turned their cash-burning machine into a cash-generating one, got out of the bank's hospital division, and built a truly sustainable, valuable company. They learned the ultimate lesson: profit is sanity, but cash is king. When you step back from all the tools, checklists, and acronyms in scaling up, what you're left with is a profound and surprisingly simple philosophy. It's the idea that freedom in business doesn't come from chaos, spontaneity, and winging it. It comes from discipline. It comes from rhythm. It comes from that beautiful mantra, routine sets you free. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? As entrepreneurs, we often start businesses to escape the rigid structures of the corporate world. We want freedom. But as the company grows, that very freedom can lead to a prison of our own making, a prison of complexity, stress, and 80-hour workweeks, just like Alan Rudy found himself in. What Verne Harnish teaches us is that the right routines don't constrain you, they liberate you. A daily huddle doesn't waste 15 minutes. It saves you an hour of interruptions. A one-page strategic plan doesn't limit your vision, it focuses your energy so you can actually achieve it. Understanding your cash conversion cycle doesn't bog you down in numbers. It gives you the oxygen to pursue your biggest ambitions without suffocating. The 4 decisions: people, strategy, execution, and cash aren't just 4 separate pillars. They are a deeply interconnected system. You can't have great execution without the right people. You can't have a winning strategy if you don't have the cash to fund it. You can't attract the best people if your strategy isn't compelling and your execution isn't inspiring. They all work together. The real power of this book is that it provides a common language and a shared framework that gets everyone in the organization, from the CEO to the frontline employee, pulling in the same direction. It replaces guesswork with clarity and firefighting with foresight. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of ideas we've covered today, that's normal. The key is not to do everything at once. Harnish himself says it takes 2 to 3 years to truly master these habits. So, what can you do right now? First, have a conversation with your team. Is your team healthy? Is there a foundation of trust that allows for real, passionate debate? If not, start there. That's Rockefeller habit number 1, and it's the gateway to everything else. Second, Start the daily huddle, just the executive team to begin with. 5 minutes. What's up? What are the numbers? Where are you stuck? It's the simplest and fastest way to improve communication and alignment. And third, pick one thing. Just one. What is the single biggest bottleneck, the single biggest rock in your shoe that's holding your business back right now? Make that your one priority for the next 90 days. Wrap a fun theme around it. Put a scoreboard on the wall. And celebrate like crazy when you achieve it. Build that muscle of focused collective effort. Scaling up is more than a business book. It's an operating system for growth. It's a reminder that building a great company isn't about a single stroke of genius. It's about the relentless, disciplined execution of a few fundamental principles, day after day, week after week, until they become the very heartbeat of your organization. That was a deep dive into Scaling Up by Verne Harnish. We've explored the core principles today, but I have to be honest with you. A summary can only scratch the surface. The real transformation happens when you engage with the material yourself. It's in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple tool suddenly clicks and illuminates a problem you've been wrestling with for months. This summary is your map, but the book is the journey. If any of the ideas we've discussed, the 4 decisions, the Rockefeller Habits, the power of routine, have resonated with you, I truly encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning business theory. It's about gaining a practical, actionable toolkit that can genuinely change how you build and lead. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable and it sparked some new ideas for you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It lets us know we're on the right track and ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.